People has been talking about servers, especially after MSX happened. In MEM6, the server topic they've been talking about, it is, well, insane trash talk. But you get the point. Okay, so what in the holy yappuccino am I going to talk about servers, you ask? You see, servers has been a debate among people for so long, which is stronger, which is weaker, even you can see that in the M6 trash talks. So which server is stronger? Let's dive into it. Now, server who are mostly filled with ML players are Indonesia and the Philippines. They're also the one who trash talks each other mostly. Of course, I dare not forget Malaysia, but Indonesia and Philippines has most players of all. Now, of course, those three are the only OG ML servers, besides servers which has players but is not an OG, which is India. Anyways, the Philippines has been winning most tournaments lately. Well, not lately, it's more like MT2 to MS6. M1 was won by EVOS from Indo. And well, since M2 to M6 has been won by Philippines pro squads, and the opposition is loud too, it has been a debate on which server is better. And with Philippines pro squads always winning, though obviously Philippines people are absolutely winning at the debate. So the Philippines is obviously the stronger server, right? Well, not really. Reminder that this video is not based off only pro players, but also normal servers in general. Well, if you're talking about skill ceiling, yeah, they absolutely have the best pro players and top players. And with all the current PH pro player imports, it cannot be denied. But like general server players, hell no, players aren't ordinary. And by that I mean they are a lot higher in rank than most of us. But why does that matter anyway? They still practice in rank in Philippines server, which means that Philippines server is stronger. Of course, I do admit that it has the highest pro-top skill ceiling. But from people's perspective, they're just trying to compare two stupid servers. And Philippines general server is not even really that much above Indo and Malay. They have best top players in very high rank who make each other stronger, which others don't have. Which would mean that they have the best server overall. But if we're talking about general server with casual players, they aren't much different from the other main server. Don't expect much, because casual players are still casual players. But if you go higher ranks, it would be a different story. Because some servers have different worse play styles who would drag them down, unlike PH high rank. And yeah, by high rank I mean at least mythical, immortal, and above. I've met the most diabolical tryhards there. But don't pro players start from the beginning too? Absolutely, it's just that almost all of them either started very early when Mythic and Legend was still very hard to reach, or had another harder MOBA game experience. Both would be able to give time to get high win rates or make an alt account to get higher win rates. And they only fight top players now, and their top players are ridiculously a lot better than other servers, like it's no match at this point, especially with how FNOP demolished everyone on M6. Yeah, PH server, high rank, and scrim against other good pro squads would be the best way to practice. It doesn't matter where or when someone starts, to be honest. An Indo player, for example, if they're already good and they practice against FH server top players or scrim against their top squads, it would make the Indo player better too. Basically, PH server top players are a lot harsher than all other servers, which made them stronger after becoming pro players. In pro squads who already won, scrim against each other, which is also their way to preserve them insane skills, which is the absolute definition of top skill ceiling right now. So yeah, PH is by definition the strongest server right now. But just Immortal ++ or even 5-man? Expect much. But casual players or even early glory expect brain damage. No, Philippines pro squads has absolutely dominated everything. I don't know how the skill ceiling got boosted out of nowhere after M1, while somehow having some of the worst players below compared to other servers. And I'm not talking about epics or legend or ranks like that. I'm talking about glory above. They're still much craftier than other servers somehow. And they even talk a whole lot more than other servers. Like, I'm still wondering how their country is top 1 on ML. White. Foul. Genuinely. Anyways, even if other main servers like Malaysia and Indo are better at general players, Philippines wins so hard on the top skill ceiling right now. Other servers are struggling by either them having worse top players at the moment or not as much esport teams and players. There are also pro squads which defy their own server's fate. One of the best examples is Falcon Esports. Now Falcon is from Myanmar server, and Myanmar server is mostly known as a joke and the dark system itself by other servers, especially with the trash talks against them. But hey, they did so well against Fnatic Onyx compared to other teams, it was even pretty close, reaching 5 games. Well, Fnop didn't ban Bruno Fair for some reason. I guess they had the I'll beat you at your strongest grind set at that. But hey, FNOP still won. Anyways, Falcon did well against top squads, and they also did so well in general, despite their server being known as a joke. This is proof that sometimes servers don't matter as much for pro players who practice with their own server, best players. Hell, if we're talking skill ceiling, then Myanmar might be equal to Indo or Malay server. But general or casual server? Not even close. Now, there is no absolute way to actually see which server is the best of all. The only way to prove it is by graph of what teammates you meet. And it would still be arguable. What's clear is that PH has the highest skill ceiling right now by far. Anyways, let's quit the nerdy stuff. Main server normal players like Malaysia, Philippines, and Indonesia are generally the same with a few tweaks. Even the meta is always the same on all 3 servers without much delay. But you know what's actually different? That's right, servers outside of C, or at least those 3. Now that we know those 3 main servers are the strongest and earliest servers, we have the weaker servers. Now, what's the 3rd or 4th most populated ML server? If I had to guess, it'd be India. Well, mostly from my statistics, but you get the point. Now, since more game population means better players, does that mean India is as good, or at least close to the main 3? Absolutely not. You see, skill levels absolutely depends on the population of players. But it also depends on when most of the players start playing. And since India banned MLBB a long time ago, I guess it also made less players play early, which means that they had less time developing their skills. Also, there aren't many India ML YouTubers that will help them with that. Not to slander my India fans or India players though, I appreciate my fans. But the truth is just that India's server isn't as good as main C servers. That's also the cause of why there aren't any India pro teams yet. Also because of the ban, of course. But it would be kind of interesting to see an Indian pro team somewhat. Now, talking about less populated pro teams, we have NA server with BTK. They, surprisingly, are pretty improved this M6. While they still lost mostly, so they're not up there, of course. One thing is, servers matter a lot more when it's outside of those 3. Because compared to the main servers, their skill gap is too big. It's the same case as India, where the player developments are late, plus there really just aren't many players in that server. And less players means less competitive, and less competitive means less potential are really there. BTK really would have a better time if they practiced in the main server instead, at least. Or even better, PH squad high rank or scrim. The thing is, there is probably a certain combination of better players for MLBB Pro C in there, just undiscovered because the game isn't even popular outside of Southeast Asia. The majority of servers outside of Indo, Philippines, and Malaysia are not as good as them. I'm not saying they're bad, they're just not as good. Even if it's equally hard for standard people to rank up on all servers, it will still be a lot easier to solo carry in an easier server, while it's almost impossible to solo carry in the main 3 servers. That's also the reason why heroes like Argus may be overpowered in other servers like Turkey server, for example. But then he isn't as useful in high rank in the main 3 servers. And yeah, I heard Argus was banned on Turkey server, by the way. I don't know if that's true, but it is what it is, I guess. Anyways, those are the main things about servers. There are 3 main servers, and most servers outside of those 3 aren't nearly as good. But they indeed have potential to compete. Well, because as proven by Myanmar before, sometimes server don't matter as much for pro player gameplays, even if servers still matter for some meta to base it off of course. In my opinion, they should actually advertise ML properly so other servers also actually play the game, instead of making Balmond Ads. Conclusion? There are 3 main ML servers, with Philippines dominating without contest on the pro scene and skill ceiling. Servers outside of those 3 suck ass. Randoms on all servers are ass.